In this episode of Teach Me Something, Shay Black attempts to teach our real estate expert Long Doan about building relationships, engaging with people, and building rapport. Shay Black is the founder of Black Owl Realty in San Diego and Las Vegas, who legally changed his name to be more in line with his brand and to be able to use his awesome team name. I mean, Black Owl Realty, it is pretty awesome. His previous work experience included owning his own national trucking company and working as a manager for multiple high-volume restaurants. With this background as both an entrepreneur and engaging in service-oriented businesses, it was only natural that Shay would merge his experiences to lead a real estate team dedicated to serving clients. Will Long learn something new from Shay? We will find out on this episode of Welcome to Teach Me Something, where our experts have 2 minutes to teach something new. I'm your host, Jesse Zagorski. Meet Long Doan. Long knows a lot about everything, but specifically real estate and leadership. Long has sold thousands of houses, but there's one thing you should know about him. Every day, he is committed to learning something new. And if he doesn't learn something new, he has to read a book for at least 20 minutes. Long loves to learn, but he hates reading books. Well, that's not totally true, but you get the idea. And Long has a short attention span because his brain is always thinking, which is why our contestants only have 2 minutes. Let's see if Long can learn something new on Teach Me Something.
I've heard, Shay, that your superpower is relationship building. And now while Long he's a pretty good relationship guy, right? We have some past in history, and I know he's good relationships. My guess is you have a couple things you can teach in 2 minutes or less that Long may not know. Should we try that, Shay?
It's possible. I'll give it a shot. That's for sure.
Because you are a master relationships. All right, let's do this. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the countdown timer. And let's see what you get to in 2 minutes. And by the way, I love that you're doing this from your car because I know that you're actually out building relationships now. Right? That's it. On the road.
An inspector that I didn't know before. So there you go.
All right, let's do this. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock and we will start now.
All right. Sounds good. So yes, I have been told that, building relationships, and I'm sure a lot of other people out there have heard too, that building relationships is the keystone to selling real estate or helping people through real estate in any way. And I happen to just really enjoy it. And people have told me that I'm good at it. So things to keep in mind with there, because, if you think about sales and or service positions in any way, being genuinely interested in somebody and listening and learning and as to what it is their goals are is going to get you a lot further than almost anything else. One of my agents that worked on my team, he watched me. He studied me all the time. And he said, I've been watching what you do. He's like, at open houses, when they come in, you engage them, you shake their hand, you blah, blah, blah. And then you ask them questions about business and personal, and then you find something to relate to almost right away. And you go into that and you make them feel good and you make them feel calm and connected. And then you go from there. Asking questions, listening a lot, and finding out what it is. And I like to do a little bit of a mix of business and personal. So that way you're mix and matching the whole thing together instead of just being all business or all pleasure. You're not there necessarily to be their best friend. That's not why they're hiring you. They're hiring you to be professional and to guide them through a really huge and important transaction in their life. So that's kind of how I've done it. Is we start off and we really get to know them and connect and build rapport. And then from there, if somebody likes you, trusts you, and likes and trusts you, then they'll do business with you. That's the way I've always seen it. And that's what I do first and foremost.
All right, we're at 2 minutes. Shay, Long, how do you feel about that?
I don't know.
All right, so I guess my question would be, I know it's not a script, but it must be anatomy because you kind of explained building rapport, right? So let's say you just met somebody like me and you don't know me. Give me an example of like what you would do. Are there steps you follow, process, they're kind of a technique that you use to make sure you cover all the things you share with me?
Sure. Yeah. I think first of all is, making good eye contact and shaking hands, or maybe a fist bump if it's, in these times and days. And then listening and watching their body language and mirroring and that kind of thing, and then asking questions and see what they get excited about. That's how I would do it. That's how I would do it with you. And it's a lot of listening and then jumping in where it makes sense instead of just putting all of your stuff on somebody.
That was my question for you, Shay, was how do you show someone that you genuinely care? That was the one thing that I keyed on to. So like, how do you show someone you genuinely care?
Well, I think it's also just a little bit about the way you come across. So some people can come off salesy or ingenuine and that kind of thing. And so, that's a good question because I'm not sure, as long as you're asking questions about them and then replying genuinely rather than scriptedly or, whatever. And if you come across as real, and I don't mean, maybe the best way is to come off, unscripted and not clean and not exactly right. Because then people can see that you're actually thinking on the fly and you're responding to what it is that they say and what they do, rather than just maybe scripts and rebuttals and that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. Long, any other questions for Shay?
I think it makes sense to me. I understand that. I think, just going in with, because you're really good at what you do, but how do you, as a coach yourself too, right? Or teaching other people, there must be a way for you to tell them this is the step you go, like system run business, people run system, right? What's your system or process of doing this so you can duplicate it over and over again? Because you probably do it by feel. You probably have it all up here and you're natural at it. How do you show somebody or teach somebody how to do that? Those would be the thing that I would be interested in learning more in the future.
Yeah. And I think that's probably a really smart thing that I could be doing, because I haven't been able, if I could figure this out, if I could teach people how to be genuine and likable and then I'd be rich for one thing. And I think everybody else would too. But you know what, that might be a really great idea to put that into a process so that people can learn and benefit from it. Like I said, it's always been kind of my superpower and I do it naturally, but I haven't ever really thought, and that's great. You've made me think about something that I could do in order to add value to maybe a lot of people's lives, is put that into in a systemized way.
Well, normally I ask Long, but Shay, I want to ask you first, my favorite question to wrap this up. Shay, did you learn something today?
Yeah, I did actually.
Well, good. And so Long, did you learn something today?
I learned that I want to show Shay I'm genuinely interested. So I was asking him a lot of good questions and making eye contact. And if we were nearby, I'd give you a fist bump, baby.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
I love it. All right. Good to see you guys. Enjoy your day.
Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.